Hatred between a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law is a common thing, and Laura Sanderson and Cherry Lane are no exception. Laura believes it is her duty to protect her son, while Cherry considers her rival insane. Which of these women will win this dangerous confrontation? 5 months earlier. Laura is a businesswoman whose days are scheduled literally down to the minute. Yet what matters more to her than her career is her son, Daniel. The young man is preparing to introduce his parents to his new girlfriend. This time he says everything is different. She is smart, ambitious, striking and funny. Laura understands that her son has fallen in love. He mentions that his new girlfriend reminds him of his mother. Later, Laura meets her friend, Isabella Russell Bailey, and shares the latest news. Daniel has always had girlfriends, but this time everything feels different. At last the young couple arrives to make the introductions. Howard Sanderson, Daniel's father, also joins them for dinner. Laura gives Cherry a tour of the house. Then everyone raises a toast to their meeting. Daniel studies at a medical university, and Cherry works in real estate. Howard is involved in this field as well. The girl shares that she dreams of having her own company, one that will focus on affordable housing and help solve the housing crisis in England. Laura meanwhile owns an art gallery, and she is soon to host an exhibition. From the very first minutes, she begins to feel jealous of her son toward his fiancée. Nevertheless, Laura tries not to show it and appears friendly. Cherry says that she is an only child, just like Daniel. Laura objects, saying that Daniel is not their only one. The couple had a daughter, Rose, but unfortunately she was with them only briefly. During dinner, it also becomes clear that Daniel has changed his mind about becoming a pediatrician and has instead decided to study trauma surgery in London, which comes as an unpleasant surprise to Laura. Supposedly by accident, she spills hot tea on the girl. While Cherry is in the bathroom, Laura notices in her bag a bracelet identical to her own. The mutual dislike between the two women is obvious, even though both try to hide it. Before bed, Laura calls for her cat, Moses, but the pet is nowhere to be seen. The next day she tells Isabella about the bracelet, although there is no certainty that Cherry stole it. Yet that is not the only thing bothering her. The girl behaved as if she were hiding something, and besides, the cat has still not been found. Their conversation is interrupted by the appearance of Brigitte, Isabella's daughter. Their family is going through a difficult period, since Isabella is in the midst of her 4th divorce. Naturally, Brigitte is worried about protecting the inheritance. For Laura's exhibition, all close ones and friends are invited. The woman pretends that everything is wonderful, yet in truth it is unbearable for her to see her son and Cherry together. Laura has already written a message to the headmistress of the prestigious school that Cherry claimed to have attended. And the headmistress replied that there is no record of any Cherry Lane. Laura and Howard practice an open marriage. The man has another woman, Marianne, but he has been thinking for a long time about leaving her. Laura, however, would prefer to keep things as they are. The next day the woman puts up flyers on the street about her missing cat. She also intends to find out whether Cherry really works in real estate. Perhaps the girl lied about that too. Suddenly on the street, Laura notices Cherry arguing with some guy who shouts that he is getting married this Saturday, no matter what she thinks of it. Suddenly Cherry punches him in the face. All of this only reinforces Laura's suspicions. What is this girl hiding? When Daniel first saw Cherry, he was captivated at first glance. It happened on a day when he was hanging out with friends, and they were all quite drunk right in the middle of the afternoon. She really does work in real estate. And upon learning that the lead assistant position had gone not to her but to Pandora Henry, who keeps showing up at the office hungover, Cherry was deeply outraged. Their boss, Elliot, explains that it is purely a strategic decision. Thanks to Pandora's mother's connections, the agency will gain new opportunities. Then during her break, Cherry goes to the gym to release her anger through physical exercise. After the workout, noticing a familiar face, Cherry hides, but the man seems to spot her anyway. It is Nicholas Hale, who is engaged to Millie de Poldnack. Pandora constantly leaves her workplace for any reason, without notifying the management. And now in her absence her client appears, Daniel Sanderson, who has come to the agency regarding the purchase of a penthouse. He recognizes Cherry and apologizes for the circumstances under which their first meeting took place. Cherry immediately takes over the client and shows him the luxurious penthouse. Daniel flirts with the girl, and she willingly plays along. At some point she reveals her real name to him, admitting that she stole it from a colleague. Daniel is not bothered by this in the slightest. For Cherry, it is a surprise to learn that he is not some banker but a future doctor. People from families as wealthy as his usually choose finance. Daniel likes the penthouse, but he likes the realtor who showed it to him even more. The passion between them ignites instantly and spontaneously. Their relationship also developed rapidly. For their third date, Daniel invited Cherry to his father's hotel to impress her even more. The young man also shares that his mother runs an art gallery and keeps him, her son, on a very short leash. Cherry's father died when she was 14. This always motivated her to achieve everything on her own, relying on no one. Daniel felt as if he had known Cherry his entire life. Sometimes when his parents were away, he would invite her home. And during one of those moments, rummaging through Laura's dressing room, Cherry tried on her bracelet. When the woman suddenly returned, Cherry hid in a hurry, thus unintentionally stealing the piece of jewelry. She froze in place, and if Daniel had not distracted his mother by breaking a vase, the presence of another woman in the house would have been exposed. Soon after that, Cherry, having bought a new dress for the upcoming dinner with her boyfriend's parents, finds online information about Laura and Howard Sanderson, who give the impression of being a perfect, successful couple. Any woman would dream of being in Laura's place. However, the first introduction to the parents was far from smooth, though everyone tried to behave impeccably polite. Laura did not know that Cherry had already been in this house. When Laura spilled hot tea on her, the girl stepped into the bathroom and as an act of revenge, let the cat out through the window. When Cherry stepped out of the bathroom, she realized that Laura had seen the bracelet. After that, the dinner continued. The woman was curious who Cherry's father had been before his passing. The girl was ashamed to admit that he had been a simple builder, so she lied, saying he had been an architect. Laura wanted to look him up online, which made Cherry nervous. Daniel asked his mother to stop, hinting that she was crossing a line. Overall, the dinner had not gone the way Cherry had hoped, because Laura had clearly seen right through her son's potential fiancé. In truth, the girl comes from a very ordinary family. Her mother, Tracy Lane, owns a butcher shop and believes that Daniel is not a match for her, nor is Nicholas. Men like them choose brides from their own circle, therefore girls like Cherry have no chance. During Laura's gallery exhibition, Cherry tried to impress her but failed, mangling the artist's surname. Mrs. Sanderson politely ended the conversation and shifted her attention to other guests. Seeing Millie and Nicholas, Cherry quickly came up with an excuse to lead Daniel away. Soon the young man is going on a family vacation to Spain, as they do every year. He is crazy about Cherry and hopes she will come with them. The girl agreed, seeing it as an opportunity to improve her relationship with his family. The next day Nicholas approached Cherry on the street, accusing her of stalking him, first at the gym, then at the gallery. The girl assured him that it was a chain of coincidences, she had been invited to the gallery. But Nicholas did not believe it and insulted her, for which he received a punch in the face. By chance Laura witnessed this. Learning that Cherry would join them on the vacation to Spain, the woman barely restrained herself from showing her true reaction. Daniel had not told her anything yet. On Saturday, as revenge, Cherry ruined Nicholas and Millie's wedding. Leaving in the middle of the commotion, she smiled smugly. Daniel, who had gone ahead on vacation with his family, transfers money into Cherry's account so she can buy herself a business class ticket. But instead, the girl spends most of the sum on new clothes and buys an economy ticket. Upon arrival at the airport, she changes into a new outfit to look impressive. Daniel meets his beloved and notes that she looks like a movie star. Before meeting her boyfriend's family, Cherry is very nervous. She hopes this will be her new chance to make a good impression. Laura's exhibition has failed, and Cherry knows it, yet she still pretends to be surprised. The woman only says that people did not understand her work. For the vacation at the Sandersons' luxurious villa, Isabella and Brigitte join them. They find it strange that they did not see Cherry in business class, since they were on the same flight. Cherry feels out of place among these snobs, but she nonetheless does everything she can to fit in. While everyone is playing tennis, she plans to quietly return Laura's bracelet, but the maid Carlota catches her. Brigitte openly flirts with Daniel, who seems to take it completely normally. They split into two teams, Laura and Brigitte against Cherry and Daniel. Tennis is not Cherry's strong suit, and she misses shot after shot. But when she finally hits the tennis ball just right and strikes Brigitte, Carlota appears and says that it was not an accident, and that Cherry cannot be trusted. The game is interrupted. Cherry is upset, and the situation is made even worse by the fact that Daniel never told her that Brigitte was his ex. He did not think it was important, as it had been so long ago. Now Daniel sees Brigitte as a sister. To earn his beloved's forgiveness, he suggests they go on a bike ride together. Cherry is glad for any opportunity to be away from her boyfriend's relatives. Daniel says that he loves her just as she is, and that he does not care about his family's opinion. For him, the most important thing is that Cherry stays true to herself. They are so absorbed in each other that they forget about everything else. Seeing messages from Laura on Daniel's phone, Cherry quietly turns it off. On the way back, the young man falls off his bike. The couple is late for dinner. Laura is outraged that her son did not answer her calls and messages. He explains that they simply lost track of time. When Laura sees the scrapes on Daniel's knees, she immediately starts tending to them. Cherry is openly bewildered by such overprotectiveness toward a 27-year-old man. Left alone with Daniel, the girl jokes about it, but he reacts in a way she did not expect. Daniel does not understand what is wrong with a little care. The next day Howard shows Cherry Rose's room, the late daughter of the Sandersons. He has never received sympathy from his wife, who believes that a mother's grief over the loss of a child cannot be compared to that of a father. Cherry says that this is not true. It matters to Howard to hear it. He offers to have breakfast together. Howard also intends to introduce her to his business partner, Max Cater, a major realtor. He plans to work on affordable housing, and Cherry would be very useful to his team. Howard gives the girl Max's business card, convinced that she will become part of their family. Learning that her husband took Cherry to Rose's room, Laura does not hide her indignation. The woman dislikes it when outsiders go there. But this is not the only reason for Laura's dissatisfaction. She saw the economy class ticket on Cherry's suitcase and wants to discuss it with Daniel. The girl does everything she can to prevent that conversation, distracting the young man in every possible way. When Daniel tells his beloved about the planned yacht outing, she reacts without enthusiasm, not understanding why he cannot spend a single day apart from his mother. Daniel reminds her that this is a family vacation. During the yacht trip, Brigitte, paying no attention to the presence of Daniel's girlfriend, continues flirting with him. Isabella notes Cherry's expensive designer swimsuit. Laura in turn notes the girl's dreadful appearance. Despite this, Cherry joins Daniel and Brigitte for boating, when suddenly she falls into the water. Laura watches indifferently from the yacht, in no hurry to help the girl. Earlier in the vacation, Laura told her husband that Cherry was not right for their son. The woman had seen Cherry strike some man in the street. Howard objected, saying that they did not know anything for certain. Later, learning from Isabella that Cherry had not flown business class, Laura understood that the girl had simply decided to pocket the rest of the money Daniel sent her for the ticket. The women resolved to expose Cherry and had been provoking her this entire time. Once the opportunity presented itself, Laura rummaged through Cherry's suitcase and saw new designer clothes, still with price tags. She also saw the economy class ticket, which confirmed her suspicions. In the present, when Cherry is drowning, Laura after some hesitation jumps into the water and pulls her out. It turns out that the girl cannot swim. She is simply ashamed to admit it to the others. Laura promises to keep the secret and suggests they go ashore. It seems this incident has warmed their relationship. They even go have a glass of wine together. Cherry decides to confess that she was not on that flight. She bought a cheaper ticket for the sake of expensive clothes. She had simply been nervous and wanted to look the part. Laura suggests making an agreement, no more lies. Perhaps they started off on the wrong foot. The woman is ready to admit that she sometimes overprotects Daniel, yet it is only out of love. Then they eat ice cream and stroll through the city. Back at the villa, Laura asks Cherry to answer honestly whom she struck that day in the street. The girl lies, saying it was a clingy ex-boyfriend of her colleague. When Daniel and Brigitte return, Laura reproaches her son for not even noticing Cherry's absence, essentially leaving her alone. Daniel is terribly sorry. He apologizes to his beloved. He had simply gotten distracted. Laura and Cherry talk heart to heart. Mrs. Sanderson shares that after Rose's death she and Howard went through a difficult period. It was then that she met an amazing person, a woman named Lilith, with whom she was ready to spend her whole life. But then Laura became pregnant and chose her family. Howard does not know even half of it. Cherry promises to keep the secret. In the evening everyone has a small family party at the villa. For the first time during the entire vacation, things truly seem to go well. The next morning Laura thanks Cherry for the wonderful day they had. A wine tasting is planned for today, but Laura does not mind at all if Daniel and Cherry stay at the villa to spend time together, just the two of them. On social media, Brigitte sees that someone has completely ruined Nicholas and Millie's wedding, and she shows the clip to her mother and to Laura. Everyone in the comments says it was done by the groom's crazy ex-girlfriend. Laura realizes that Nicholas is the very guy Cherry slapped right in the street. The woman immediately returns to the villa, unable to understand how she could ever have believed Cherry. Daniel may be in danger with her. Laura finds Cherry swimming in the pool. It turns out she lied about not being able to swim as well. Laura makes it clear that she knows about the girl's lies and demands that she stay away from Daniel. Cherry, not looking frightened at all, reminds her that they keep each other's secrets. After returning from vacation, Daniel decides on his next important step, to live with Cherry. In front of him, Laura pretends that nothing is wrong, fearing her past secrets may come to light, yet in truth she does not intend to let things stay as they are. And Cherry in turn has no intention of giving up her beautiful life with Daniel. He is certain that his two favorite women get along wonderfully. On the work front, things are not going well for Cherry. Pandora has not made a single sale in a month, but Elliot keeps fawning over her because of her wealthy mother. Tracy Lane comes to Cherry's office to finally see where her daughter works. The girl looks nervous, afraid that Laura is digging into her life and has asked something of her colleagues or her mother. At that moment Daniel appears, and thus happens his spontaneous introduction to Cherry's mother. The girl had not planned this, but Daniel finds her mother sweet and fun. Contrary to Cherry's expectations, the introduction goes well. Laura uses every opportunity to interfere in the young couple's life. Daniel's birthday is coming soon, and he must choose: go to a musical with his mother as tradition dictates, or spend the day with his beloved. Cherry hints that she has already booked a mountain tour, everything he loves. And Daniel chooses the mountains. In reality, Cherry has not booked anything. Moreover, her credit card balance has dipped into the negative. Soon Nicholas calls her. He knows she ruined his wedding and intends to go to the police. It turns out Laura contacted him. Nicholas threatens Cherry that if she ever appears in his life again, she will regret it. The girl asks her mother to provide her with an alibi if the police suddenly inquire. Of course Tracy will support her daughter, only hoping that this time she has not done anything terrible. To divert suspicion from herself in advance, Cherry tells Daniel that after their breakup Nicholas became obsessed with her and is spreading stupid rumors about her. She tells Laura the same, but the woman is not naive enough to believe her. When Daniel hears his mother speak about her dislike of Cherry, it leads to a conflict. The young man stands entirely on his beloved's side, yet the rift with his mother weighs heavily on him. Cherry tries to remind him as often as possible that he made the right choice. For Daniel's birthday, the couple goes on the tour. And in that moment he proposes to her. Of course she says yes. Cherry is afraid of heights, yet she still climbs the mountain after Daniel, who is thrilled with the activity. At one point the girl slips, but fortunately the safety rope keeps her from falling. Despite this, Daniel plans to conquer the next peak. Cherry belays him, though she has little experience. At some moment trying to impress his beloved, he performs various tricks, but slips and falls down. Some time before this, Laura returned from a trip to Paris. Howard was going to the ballet with Marianne, and Laura did not object at all, especially because she had resumed contact with her former lover, Lilith Greenway. Daniel shared with his mother his plans to live on his own, but he will not live there alone, he will live with Cherry. Hearing this, Laura barely holds back her emotions. Her hatred for Cherry knows no bounds. This prompts Laura to reach out to Nicholas, but he refuses to speak about Cherry. Isabella and Brigitte think Laura should leave the young couple alone. After all, it is Daniel's life, and only he should decide. But Laura does not like that Cherry tries in every possible way to show her possession of Daniel. She does manage, however, to convince Nicholas and Millie to meet with her. Nicholas says that Cherry is clingy and dangerous. After their breakup she stalked him. Fortunately Millie's uncle works in the police force, and the couple succeeded in obtaining a restraining order. But even that did not help, given that Cherry dared to ruin their wedding. Laura tries to reason with her son, but Daniel is convinced that Nicholas is lying. He cannot take it anymore, since his mother will not let him live. This pushes the young couple to speed up the move. Howard does not understand why his wife is behaving this way. She seems obsessed with Daniel. Laura in turn cannot understand why no one but her can see who Cherry really is. She is a liar and a fraud. Howard asks his wife to stop, and in the end the conversation leads nowhere. After so many years, Laura meets with Lilith, the artist. The woman has no one else to confide in, since everyone has turned against her. Lilith embraces Laura, repeating that everything will be all right, that she is not alone. Having calmed down, the woman tells her former lover about Cherry. Lilith believes her and advises her to apologize to everyone in order to lull Cherry's vigilance. Pathological liars like her always break sooner or later. But when that happens, Daniel will not blame his mother. At that moment Cherry calls Laura, crying, and begs her to come to the hospital. The Sandersons arrive immediately. Cherry explains that it was an accident. Daniel had simply wanted to climb higher into the mountains. Crying, Laura drives the girl out of the hospital room. Daniel is in critical condition in the intensive care unit. The doctors give no predictions yet. Laura cannot calm down. They cannot lose their second child. Trying to stay composed, Howard at his wife's request asks the girl to leave, because Daniel must be with his family right now. For now, all they can do is wait. The rest of the day Cherry tries to reach Laura, but none of her calls are answered. Meanwhile the Sandersons see commotion in the hospital corridor. Daniel has suffered a complication. Soon the doctor regretfully tells them that the surgery did not help, and Daniel will likely not survive. They can say goodbye to him now. At the same time Cherry desperately tries to call Laura. When the doctor leaves them alone, the spouses break down in helpless sobs. Soon Daniel is removed from the ventilator, and he breathes on his own, for now. Laura sits beside his bed. She finally answers Cherry's call. The girl repeats how sorry she is and that she will come right away to see Daniel. Laura emotionlessly says there is no need, Daniel died this morning. Hearing this, Cherry is too shocked to say a word. After that, Laura in tears begs her son to wake up, saying she will not survive without him. And in that moment the young man comes out of the coma. After some time Laura drives to Cherry to tell her that Daniel is actually alive. And the woman is very nervous before this conversation. However, Cherry, who is still living in Daniel's penthouse, does not look grieving at all. She spends money from Daniel's card, uses his laptop, and generally enjoys her life. When Cherry mentions that Daniel proposed to her, Laura cannot believe it, since he had been dating this girl for only a couple of months. Cherry asks when the funeral will be. Laura says the funeral has already taken place, which sends Cherry into a rage, and she drives the woman out. Taking Daniel's mail with her, Laura sorts through it at home and finds a letter addressed to Cherry, an overdue bill from the Stonehaven nursing home. At that moment there is a knock at the door. It is Cherry, aggressively demanding to be let in. Laura calls Howard and says that perhaps they should not take Daniel back to London after he is discharged. Maybe it would be better if he did his rehabilitation in Spain, where the three of them could spend time together. The couple does exactly that. Daniel is still very weak. Laura tells him that Cherry does not answer calls. The young man does not understand why his beloved would treat him this way. Turning on her son's phone, Laura deletes all missed calls from Cherry and replaces her number with another one. Daniel is depressed that his beloved abandoned him so easily. Laura tries her best to show him care, yet it only irritates him. All his thoughts are occupied by Cherry. The next day Laura calls Isabella and asks her and Brigitte not to spread information about Daniel's recovery. From the moment her beloved was supposedly gone, the girl genuinely suffered. She even bought a funeral suit for him, although she paid for it with his own card. When Laura came, Cherry tried not to show her true emotions, but when Mrs. Sanderson said that the funeral had already taken place, the girl simply snapped. She went to the Sandersons' house to at least learn where Daniel was buried. But Laura did not even let her cross the threshold. Moreover, Cherry soon received a voice message from Mrs. Sanderson demanding that she vacate the apartment by the end of the month. Laura found a physiotherapist for Daniel, a lovely woman named Elena. There is no better cure for a broken heart. Howard still does not understand how Cherry could disappear so suddenly. Laura suggests that Howard sell their son's apartment as soon as possible, so he can let go of the past and move on. Now she is doing everything to make her son understand that no one will ever love him as much as she does. To prevent any unexpected calls from Cherry at the wrong moment, Laura blocks her number. Despite everything, Daniel keeps writing to Cherry how he misses her, not knowing that it is in fact his mother's second phone number. When Laura replies as Cherry that everything is over, Daniel curses everything in despair. The woman sees how he suffers, but thinks it is for his own good. Meanwhile, Cherry tries to find new housing. Pandora invites her to go to a bar after work, but Cherry is still in mourning. When she returns, she finds her belongings at the gate, and her key no longer fits the lock. Cherry is forced to stay at a cheap hotel. At one moment her entire life collapsed. She decides to go to the bar with her colleagues after all, just to distract herself. Some guy offers her tequila, and then they go to the dance floor together. After drinking, Cherry becomes uninhibited. She does not immediately notice Brigitte, who is shocked by what she sees. Cherry does not understand the accusations. The tragedy crushed her. Brigitte only says with contempt how broken Cherry looks. Isabella calls Laura and tells her about this. The woman is ready to do anything to prevent her son from meeting Cherry. From Daniel's laptop she logs into Cherry's account and writes an insulting post about the agency where she works. In the morning Elliot calls her in anger. Hungover, Cherry remembers nothing. Elliot fires her. The girl has nowhere to go except her mother's. She tries to find a new job in real estate, but rumors about her behavior have already spread, so all respectable agencies refuse her. Laura is pleased that Daniel has grown closer to Elena. She also suggests to Howard that they become an exclusive couple again, without Marianne. He wants that too. Gradually, Daniel begins to recover from the painful breakup. He believes that his mother was right about Cherry, and he is ready to return to London to move on. After checking the website of the real estate agency where Cherry used to work, Laura does not find her name on the list of employees and feels relieved. Upon their return to London, they notice a bouquet at the doorstep. Laura picks up the note. It is from Cherry. The flowers are meant for Daniel's grave. The woman tears up the note, lying that it is from an artist she knows. For now, Cherry works at her mother's butcher shop. Tracy suggests that her daughter go have some fun together, and they go to karaoke. But nothing can distract Cherry, because she misses Daniel so deeply. What if she never loves anyone that strongly again? Tracy says that sometimes in life we only get one chance. All we can do is pull ourselves together and live a good life. The next day mother and daughter go to the Stonehaven nursing home to visit Cherry's father, John. The girl has not forgiven him, yet her mother has found the strength to do so. Tracy cares for her gravely ill husband, confined to a wheelchair. But the man is not at all happy to see his daughter and despite barely being able to speak, drives her away. Cherry feels that she cannot stay there any longer. She just wants her life back and contacts Max Cater, a major realtor whose number Howard had previously given her. Max schedules an interview, where Cherry tells him about her ideas. Of course Max already knows about her reputation, but promises to think about it and asks whether she has discussed this with Howard. Cherry answers that she hasn't spoken to the Sandersons since Daniel's death. Puzzled, Max says that Daniel is alive and well and is having lunch one floor above at this very moment. Cherry goes there and when she sees Daniel eating lunch with his mother, cannot believe it. But when Laura and Daniel step into the elevator, she approaches them and demands an explanation of what is happening. Learning that all this time Cherry believed him dead and that his mother was behind it, the young man is shocked. Laura tries to say that she meant well, but Daniel wants to hear nothing and walks out after Cherry. Howard still knows nothing. Laura realizes that her lies are falling apart. All night long she cannot sleep, endlessly trying to call her son, but still without success. The next day Laura tries to focus on work. She has neglected her gallery completely. But her mind is elsewhere. In an emotional outburst, Laura fires her assistant, Harriet Bancroft. Later, Daniel finally shows up, but only to take his things. After what his mother has done, he cannot forgive her and only wants her to leave him alone. Cherry, by the way, came with him. She and Daniel are together again. Laura destroyed her life, and now Cherry will repay her in kind. The next morning the woman discovers that someone has slashed her tire. She goes to the police, certain that Cherry is responsible, but there is no evidence, so the police can do nothing. Jamal, whose paintings are exhibited in Laura's gallery, refuses further cooperation with her. Moreover, Harriet has filed a lawsuit against her for unlawful dismissal. Isabella comes over with a bottle of wine. Laura admits that she previously told Cherry that Daniel had died, which is why her son no longer speaks to her. Hearing this, Isabella is shocked. Such behavior is not normal. Laura has developed paranoia. She feels that Cherry is following her everywhere. The woman knows that Lilith is the only one who will understand, and she goes to her. Laura was so afraid of losing her son, and now it has happened. The gallery is on the brink of collapse, and Lilith agrees to display her own paintings to save her former lover's business. Their feelings flare up again. Even though remembering her promise to Howard, Laura knows she should not have crossed that line. The next morning upon returning home, she finds Howard distressed. He only wants to know why she told Cherry that their son had died. Laura has no answer. She only wanted to protect Daniel. The man can no longer trust his wife, especially after she admitted that she spent the night with Lilith. It hurts him to hear it. Originally it was Laura who suggested an open marriage because of Lilith, and Howard accepted it. But he has had enough. At the gallery, Lilith's painting exhibition is underway. Seeing Cherry among the guests makes Laura nervous. Pulling herself together, she suggests that the girl go downstairs so they can talk in private. Cherry openly gloats, saying that Laura's marriage is hanging by a thread, her career is collapsing, and Daniel hates her. In a burst of rage the woman is almost ready to lunge at Cherry. The guests upstairs hear shouting and the sound of breaking glass. Earlier, after learning that Daniel was alive, the girl did not know what to feel. She told her mother everything. Tracy believes her daughter should have nothing to do with the Sandersons. Daniel arrives. More than anything he wants to be with Cherry again. But she is not sure. In any case she needs time to think. Before leaving, Daniel says he will wait for her at the hotel bar. After some hesitation Cherry goes there after all. They decide to start over, against all odds. Since the truth came out, Daniel has not seen his mother even once. He is exhausted from her constant interference in his life. At first they both feel awkward, as if they are strangers, but when Daniel suggests that Cherry come up to his hotel room with him, their feelings and passion flare up with renewed force. In the morning Daniel makes coffee for his beloved, completely forgetting that she does not drink it. After the coma, some of his memories have faded. He does not even remember that before falling from the cliff he proposed to Cherry. She goes with him to his home for moral support so he can pick up his things. Despite everything Laura refuses to accept defeat. As they leaves, while Daniel does not see, Cherry punctures Laura's tire. Soon the young couple hosts a small housewarming party and invites friends. Everyone is shocked, especially Brigitte, when Cherry says that Laura made her believe Daniel was dead. Brigitte is very sorry she thought badly of Cherry after seeing her at the bar. In reality she had been desperate. Cherry finds out that Harriet, the employee Laura fired, attends yoga classes. She signs up as well and gains the girl's trust. Together they decide to take revenge on Laura for everything, destroying her reputation online. Despite everything Daniel misses his mother. Whatever the situation, they are still a family. But Cherry refuses to accept this and comes to Lilith's painting exhibition at Laura's gallery. When the women go downstairs to talk, Laura says she will do anything to keep Cherry and Daniel apart. This pushes the girl to stage an attack by Laura and cause a public scandal. Cherry also puts on a show for Daniel, lying that she only wanted to make peace with Laura, but the woman supposedly attacked her in front of everyone. Daniel believes his beloved without hesitation, thinking she is his destiny. He proposes to her, again. The couple plans to throw a party to announce their engagement officially, no matter what Daniel's mother thinks. Soon after, Laura approaches him after his night shift at the clinic and tries to explain that she did not harm Cherry, the girl did it herself. But Daniel no longer believes a single word from his mother. Laura is deeply hurt when her son tells her that he and Cherry are engaged. Howard sees no other option and prepares to file for divorce. Laura continues to insist that they must not allow Daniel and Cherry to get married. Howard asks her to stop and let their son live his own life. In Howard's opinion, Cherry is a good girl, and besides, she donates money to the nursing home where her father died. Laura remembers the overdue Stone Haven debt owed by the Lanes and heads there. Thus she discovers that Cherry's father is not dead. According to the caretaker, no one visits John except his wife. At the mere mention of his daughter's name, the man becomes distressed. The caretaker tells Laura that John worked construction and fell from a great height. He survived only by a miracle. Howard fully supports Daniel and Cherry's engagement. He is even willing to walk Cherry down the aisle in place of her father. Laura goes to Tracy's butcher shop to talk about Cherry. Laura has already guessed that it was Cherry who pushed her father from a great height, because he betrayed her mother and left them with enormous debts. But Tracy does not care what anyone thinks. As a mother, she will defend her daughter to the end. Laura intends to tell her son everything, to which Tracy responds that he will not believe her anyway. Cherry is the kind of person who gets what she wants at any cost, and she is ready to destroy anyone who stands in her way. Laura has prudently recorded their conversation on video. After that, she leaves Daniel a voice message, asking him to come over so they can simply talk. But Daniel is taking a shower, and Cherry deletes the messages from Laura from his phone. Tracy has no desire to meet her new relatives. She tells her daughter about Laura's visit to the shop. The woman clearly suspects something. But Tracy does not reveal the details of their conversation. At night while Daniel is asleep, Cherry, knowing the lock code, sneaks into Laura's gallery and ruins Lilith's paintings. In the morning, seeing Daniel's beloved childhood toy on her doorstep, Laura immediately suspects something is wrong. When she enters the gallery, she is horrified by what she sees. Lilith treasured those paintings so dearly. Laura calls the police, claiming that Cherry is threatening her, making everyone believe the opposite. Lilith arrives and, seeing her damaged paintings, begins to cry. She no longer wants anything to do with Laura, who has crossed every line in her fight with Cherry. Today is Cherry and Daniel's engagement party. Laura shows up uninvited, making Cherry nervous. Police officers also arrive and arrest the girl for property damage right in front of the guests. But neither Daniel nor Howard believes Laura, thinking she is simply trying to frame Cherry. During questioning, the girl claims that she was at her mother's that night. She also casually mentions that a certain Harriet Bancroft sued Laura after being unfairly fired from the gallery. Laura tries again and again to reach Daniel, begging in endless messages for him to listen to her. Suddenly Laura's cat Moses returns. Apparently the pet found his own way home. Cherry is released after her mother confirms her alibi. But Tracy no longer intends to support Cherry's lies and tells her that Laura knows the truth about John. And most likely she will tell Daniel. At last Laura and Daniel meet face to face. Daniel yells that he always did everything he could to be the perfect son his mother wanted. She always made every decision for him, controlling every aspect of his life. But Daniel cannot live like this anymore. Realizing that her son will not listen to her, Laura tearfully admits that she was wrong and that she needs psychiatric help. She says this only to make Daniel stay a little longer. She offers him a drink, and in the end he gives in. Laura secretly slips sleeping pills into her son's glass. Meanwhile Cherry, who was released from the police station, tries to reach Daniel but in vain. She already understands where he might be. Daniel quickly feels unwell and collapses onto the floor. Taking advantage of this, Laura prepares to show him the video of her conversation with Tracy when suddenly Cherry appears. Mrs. Sanderson lies, claiming that Daniel already knows the truth and intends to break off the engagement. Cherry cannot understand why Laura never gave her a chance in the first place. The woman says she did not want to lose her son and did not want him to suffer the same fate as John. Hearing Daniel's voice, Cherry rushes upstairs to him and tries to get her beloved out of the house, but Laura pushes the girl and locks her in the room. Cherry has no choice but to jump from the second floor. At this moment Laura calls the police. Cherry tries to enter the house but the door is locked. Daniel musters the strength to get to his feet. Cherry manages to get into the house. Laura threatens her, demanding that she disappear from Daniel's life at once. He sees the women begin to fight violently and fall into the pool. Despite his condition, Daniel jumps into the water to save his beloved. He holds his mother underwater, giving Cherry a chance to climb out. The girl screams for him to stop. Only then does he realize that his mother is no longer breathing. Daniel refuses to believe it is real. Police sirens are heard. A year passes. Daniel and Cherry are married and will soon become parents. Howard supports them in everything. Laura's cat Moses lives with them. One day something under a large vase on the floor catches the animal's attention. Daniel checks and finds his mother's phone. He watches the video of Laura and Tracy's conversation, in which Tracy states that Cherry is behind her father's disability and many other terrible things. Daniel realizes that his wife is not who she claimed to be. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel not to miss more exciting new products. Also, the authors will be pleased if you leave your opinion in the comments.